Did you know that our Supreme Court once ruled that African Americans were not included nor intended to be included under the term citizens in our United States Constitution? If you didn't know about this, let me introduce you to the Dred Scott decision. Dred Scott was a slave back in the 1800s, owned by a man with the last name of Sanford. They lived in Missouri, and at some point, this man decided to take his slave on some trips out of slave territory and into some free territory, states known as Illinois, as Wisconsin. And upon returning, there was a realization by Dred Scott that this law, once free, always free, should have applied to him. This law basically stated that any slave that travels through a free territory is now free and is unable to be taken back into slavery. So Dred Scott does what anybody would do. He sues for his freedom. This case makes its way up to our Supreme Court, where Dred Scott loses. It was decided 7-2 that Africans brought to America and their descendants were not citizens of the United States, and they didn't have the right to sue because they were technically not citizens. So Chief Justice Taney explains the decision by giving us this information. He says that we think people of African ancestry are not included and were not intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, and can therefore claim none of the rights and privileges which that instrument provides for and secures to citizens of the United States. He also said they, the blacks, have no rights which the white man is bound to respect. When people come to me and try to say, well, Jay, that was covered under the Constitution. Hey, all men were created equal. Hey, they have these protections already set up for you, for all citizens. There was rules and laws in place, but it wasn't to protect us. You could get away with a lot of stuff doing it to black people. Murder was not looked at the same way because it was ruled that black people were not allowed access to due process. But I had to give that history lesson because I'm getting a lot of people commenting on my pages talking to me about the Constitution. And then when I ask them, well, have you heard of the Dred Scott decision? I get a bunch of crickets. Thank God we've got citizenry now. Thank God for the additional amendments. For more content like this, hit that follow button. I'd love to teach you more.